Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Bookmarked by Aaliyah. Welcome if you're new here. The year is almost over. And I have read, I think I'm at 99 books, and I may be picking another one up just to make it even 100. Because why not, right? If I read that many, I might as well just round it on out. I did this last year, and it was kind of fun to kind of play with my books and kind of go through my Goodreads to see like what were my favorite books of this year. So I'm just going to share with you all of my favorite books from each month of 2025. So for all of these books, I'm not going to like read the backs of them and, all of that. I'm just going to give you a little tidbit on basically why I like the book and why it was my favorite of the month, cuz we'll be here all day cuz it's about 25 to 26 books or something like that in here. So I'm not going to go into great detail. I'm just talking about them. I'm just going to be rambling. So first for January, I started off the year with this book, The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. If you've been here for a while, you already know I love me some Kristen Hanna. She always gets you in your feels in her books. She always transports you. Her imagery and her words are just so beautiful to me. Within the first 5 to 10 pages of any Kristen Hanna book, you can see what she's talking about. You can smell what she's talking about. You can hear, you feel like you're there. You feel like you're a character in her stories. This one follows, I don't know, you already know I'm not going to remember these people's names, right? Okay. So this is just a journey of a family through the Dust Bowl era and the troubles and all the, oh God, the struggle that they went through from moving out, trying to move out west and start a new life because of the depression. I cried on this one. Like Nightingale, I teared up. This one, I cried. Great Alone, I cried. But this was just a beautiful story. And I'm not a rereader at all. Like I just have no, I have no desire to reread a book, but if I could reread a book, I would want it to be this one because this was just such a beautiful story. I have two books for February. The first one is Beautiful Broken Love by Shanora Williams. Before I read this one, I had only read like maybe one, maybe two thrillers by her. And so when she wrote this romance, I was like, is she a romance writer? But I love authors that don't stick to one genre. I like when they can write all different type of genres and they're just as good as what you're used to from that author. This book is exactly what the title says. A Beautiful Broken Love. You have two people struggling with their own grief in their own way, coming together to find love. This story was beautifully written. I feel like grief was touched on so well in this. And I don't know that I teared up or anything on this. I can't remember, but I just remember this being a beautiful story. I remember being in a hangover after I read this one just because it just touched me so much. I love this book. And the sequel to this is already on pre-order. I'll get it on the 30th. It's not a sequel. Did I just say sequel? I think I just said it was a sequel. The second book, her second book, another book by her, is coming out December 30th. I don't know if it's a sequel or not, honestly, because I don't even remember what that one is about, but I cannot wait to pick that one up. The second one I read in February is Bitter and Sweet by Rhonda McKnight. This is a story about family, a story about forgiveness, a story about breaking generational curses. It's a beautiful story. It's so good. It is not one of those that's got a lot of crazy drama or nothing like that. Like it's got your touches of historical fiction. It's got some romance. It's got sisterhood. It's got so much in this book that I enjoyed it. It's dual timelines. I believe it's dual timelines. It's just one you can get lost in. It's not. I'm sinusy, y'all, so excuse my voice. I feel like so snotty and everything, so excuse me. It's not a crazy, like fast-paced book. It's a steady flow. Like the words are good in this. The plot is good in this. Like, oh, you're gonna hate some characters, you're gonna love others. Like, pick this book up. For March, I have two. I have a thriller, Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. This was the first thriller that I read that had a podcast element in it. I enjoyed this book so much. This, y'all, so on my last video, if you watched it, when I said that, I wasn't an audiobook girly, this, so what is that? What I say? When I read this book, March, March was probably when I was like, okay, I could play with the audiobook girlies now, because this, if you read this book, make sure you either immersively read it with the audio, read it audio somewhere in your journey with this book. Please listen to the audio. I did do half and half with this, but y'all, the podcast in this, when they flip to the actual podcast, it sounds like you went to your podcast app, chose a true crime podcast to listen to, and it was this book. Like, it was so good. They have this little music that comes on. So it's like the story. Then when you hear that music drop, you like, oh, here come the podcast. What they're going to talk about on the podcast. Y'all, I'm telling you, this was such a good read. And I don't know if I love this book so much because I listened to that good chunk to really put me in it. But this was the book that sealed the deal for me, that I'm like, I'm about to be an audiobook girly because it was so, so good. Then I have Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. By the time I got to this book, I'd had the book for a little bit because I had been harassed by my subscribers to read this book, because I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love anything she writes. But this and Daisy Jones and the Six were two books that I'm just like, I just don't have an interest in. I don't have an interest in a tennis player. I don't have an interest in a 70s rock band, for Daisy Jones. But y'all, both of those books have become my favorite books by her. Honestly, those are like that and Maybe in Another Life are my favorite books by her. This follows a tennis player, like, think Serena Williams, you know what I mean? So it follows a tennis player who's known as just like a badass on the court. She's mean, she's just, cutthroat. She don't care about nothing but tennis, and just her journey to Wimbledon. Like, it is just a good journey. Again, if you're listening to me like, why would I want to read about a girl going to Wimbledon? That don't even, that, why would I read about that? Y'all, trust me. You're going to root for her. You're going to hate her. You're going to feel all kind of things about her when you read this book. But please, please, please give this book a chance. And I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I was harassed to read this book. For April, I have None of This Is True. This is another book that has a podcast element to it, and I loved it and ate it up. The main character, one of the main characters in this is weird AF. And you're like, what is going on in your household, ma'am? What is going on in there? But y'all, these people are crazy. These women are crazy in this book. I ate this book up. I enjoyed every minute of this. Like I said, it had the podcast element in it because I clearly, the month prior, I was like, I need more podcasts. Saw that this was a podcast, picked it up immediately, enjoyed the heck out of it. Highly, highly recommend. Then I have Daniel Black, Don't Cry for Me. This book touched my soul. This book, it made me look at things a lot differently than I looked at previously before reading this book. We all have our opinions. We all have our, what we feel are our morals. We all have that. You know what I mean? A lot of it is brought on by how we were raised. A lot of it is just the way we see the world as individuals. But like this book, if you have any kind of like thoughts or questions or anything, I'm not going to say all that, but I'm just going to say this book changed my mind about a lot. I will say this. It was a very heartbreaking story. I feel like I did tear up a little bit with this one. It was just heartbreaking. You're following God. What is his name? Is his name Jacob? Yes. So you're following Jacob. He has a son, Isaac. Isaac is gay. Jacob grew up in a time where that's a no-no. You are not, you're not going to be gay. Like that's not going to work for me. You know what I mean? So he is on his deathbed. And this book is full of letters that he wrote to Isaac. But the letters are basically like, going back in the past of seeing how Jacob was raised, how he was brought up, what his father, instilled in him, and just the domino effect of how he became the father he was to Isaac, and him trying to understand Isaac. And it is just beautiful. It is beautiful. I highly recommend anything Daniel Black, but I recommend this one. If you want something that's just going to make you think and feel and love this. And the third one for April, I had a really good reading month that month, is The Thing About Home by Rhonda McKnight. The same author that wrote Bitter and Sweet. This was another book I wanted to pick up because immediately after I read Bitter and Sweet, I'm like, I need more. I need more. You know how you get that author, it's a new to you author, and you read it and you're like, oh, I want to read her entire backlist. I want to read anything she writes. This is what Rhonda McKnight became for me. So I got this book. This book was just as good as Bitter and Sweet to me. Kind of the same, it's set in the same place, like it's like low country, but it's a totally different story. But it gave me the exact same feelings that Bitter and Sweet did. It just made you feel cozy and comforted and like a grandma hug. Like it was just one of those type of stories. You have a girl, I believe. I hope I'm not messing this up. She's like an influencer and she's engaged and something goes wrong with her relationship or whatever, so she moves back to like her hometown and she's back amongst family in the South, and the way they just embrace her and the things she's learned about herself, the things she's learning about like her past, and of course there's a new love interest that pops up. And so again, like the other one, you have a little bit of romance, you have a little bit of historical fiction, you have a little bit of everything in this book, and it just gives you, it gives you the cozy vibes. Like it's one of those books that it's perfect for this time of year where it's cold and you just want to be under your blanket with the fire or whatever, the candles, or you know what I mean, just set a cozy vibe for yourself when you pick this book up, because it was so good, so good. For May, I have three books. I have a Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford. Yeah, this is one of those series. This is the Windy City series. So like Mile High, The Right Move, Caught Up, Play Play Along, I think is that one, and then this one. So this is the fifth book, fifth and final book in the Windy City series. So this was my favorite book because it was different from the other four books. This book actually had dual timelines, dual POV, dual timelines, where the other one was just one timeline, dual POV. But with the past chapters in this one, it made the love story just even sweeter, because this is a friends to lovers, friends to enemies to lovers story. And y'all, I was just so glad to get Rio's book, see him finally find love. Like it was just, y'all, I want more of this series. She's definitely coming out with a new series that's going to be, this book kind of set it up for it. I think it's going to be a baseball team in San Francisco, if I'm not messing that up. But she's actually got another one coming out that's, it's, I don't think it's in a series. I think it's just a standalone, but it's with the coach and his love interest. I think it's just a separate, it's separate book, but they're mentioned, he's mentioned in like all of, you know, the books, because they're all kind of interconnected in their own way. So if that comes out before that new series comes out, y'all already know I'm grabbing that. But I love this series. I recommend this series. Is it something just something you just have to read? No, but it's a sports romance series. Like I just love it. I love it. Everybody's not gonna love it, but I love it. Then I have The Favorites. This is another sports romance, except we're talking ice skating. This is a toxic mess, is basically what it is, a toxic mess. But it is so good. It's so good. It doesn't give you like, it's not podcasts. These are more like interviews. So again, I recommend that you half and half it, do the whole thing. I recommend this on audio just because when they go to the interview portions, it is so good. It's a full cast on the audio. Like it's probably like 10 narrators on this, in this story on audio. You're following a toxic relationship between a boy and a girl that are you know, famous ice skaters, and all the drama, the paparazzi, the tabloids, their past lives, them getting over the past, them just going the back and forth, the pull and push of their relationship that is so toxic. And so this book got so much drama in it, y'all, but it was so good. It's such a good time. It's really not this thick, y'all, but I got large print because I'm old and I'm blind, and that's what I do these days. So it's really not this thick, but it was a good time. It was definitely a good time. I'm so glad I read this book. This is another one that I would kind of want to go back and just like listen to the drama again, just to be nosy. Not because it was just, you know. Then the last one for May is Can't Get Enough by our very own Kennedy Ryan, that we love so much over here on Booktube. But this is the third and final book in the Skyland series. The first one, Before I Let Go, This Could Be Us, and then this one. This was a bittersweet end to the series because anytime you read the last book of a series, you're kind of sad. You try to stretch it out as long as you can because you're like, dang, it's gonna be over once I finish this book. I'm so glad we got to see Hendrix's story. Did we agree with everything Hendrix did? Did she break girl code? Did she do, a lot of things in this book? Yes, she did. However, it still was a good read. I still say Soledad's story is my favorite one in that series, but this was a close second. I loved this book. It was highly anticipated. I got to actually meet Kennedy Ryan this year when we got this book at her signing, and this book just got a hold of a special place in my heart just because that was my first book signing, y'all. I have never like seen an author, been around an author, you know what I mean? So this is definitely one of my favorites just because mainly of the experience of this book more than the actual book itself. But I love this for me. All right, now we hitting those summer months. So for June, y'all know I got my girl Till Summer Do Us Part, Megan Quinn, a ridiculous, funny, spicy, good time. Laugh out loud funny. I went on a work trip with my husband, well, his work. I was chilling. I read this book while I was there. So relaxing, so funny, perfect for a beach read. Save this book for a beach day, a pool day, a day you're gonna be outside all day. Something like that. It gives the vibes. It takes place in a marriage retreat in the summertime. So it is crazy. For this book to be as crazy as it was for all my married ladies, you low key get some marriage tips in this one. And accidentally, you're reading, you're like, wait, you talking about me? But it was such a good time. Save this for the summer. Save it for the summer. Then I have Hurricane Summer. You see, I went hard with the summer, right? I think this is when I was reading books that felt like summer. I don't know. Maybe because these definitely feel like summer. This one, y'all, this took me through so many emotions. I think I cried, I laughed, I cussed. I did so many things reading this book. This is a YA. Y'all know I really don't be fooling with YAs like that, young adult books. But this one, I loved it so much. It was so heartbreaking, but heartbreakingly good. I felt so sorry for the female main character in this, but I want to strangle her the entire book. Like, girl, use your words. What is wrong with you? Read this book. Read this book in the summertime as well, preferably on a rainy day. Hurricane. I don't know. Sets the vibe. But I highly, highly recommend this book. If anybody asks me what's a good book I should read for the summer, like it's not quite a beach read, but if somebody asks me what's a book I could read in the summertime, I want a really, really good book. I would say this one. I would definitely say this one because it's just so good. Point period blank. It's just so good. Then for July, I have Pictures of You. This is an amnesia trope. A girl gets amnesia and she is just trying to figure out her life all over again. This is a book that I honestly, y'all, and I think I said this in a vlog I think I did a vlog on this book. This is a book I did not expect going into this book loving it, giving it 4.55 stars. I never thought that would happen ever, but I did. I love an unexpected. I love a surprise. I love a surprise with a book that you pick up a book like, yeah, it's probably gonna be pretty good. Let me just go ahead and start. Next thing you know, acknowledgments. You know what I mean? Like, this is the type of book that I love. Like, when you get surprised. Like I said, I'm not going into details about all this. This book read like a romance. It read like a thriller. It read like, literary fiction. Like, it had all the elements in it. I think I'm kind of, as you start to read and your reading journey, goes on, you start to realize what you like, what you don't like, what you love, what you feel like you have to have in a book to love it. And these are the type of books I like. I like the books that are going to surprise me. I like the books that have multiple like sprinkles of like a little bit of everything in it genre wise. You know what I mean? And this was that type of book for me. And I highly, highly recommend that you read this book. Then in July, I have Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid again. Another book that goes under that umbrella that I was talking about with the other two books. Why would I want to read about a NASA astronaut in the 1980s? I don't know why, but I enjoyed it. You don't know why you would want to read this, but you do. If you have not read this book, read this book. Again, unexpected surprise. I expected to enjoy the book because it's Taylor Jenkins Reid. I haven't disliked not one book that I've read by her, even if it wasn't a 5-star. I enjoyed all of them. I recommend every single book Taylor Jenkins Reid has written. But I went into this book like, oh, it's probably gonna be like a 3.5, 3.75. Easy as 5 stars. Easy as 5 stars, y'all. She reminds me of the way I feel about Kristen Hanna. I get lost. I get lost. I was in the spacecraft. I was an astronaut. Am I an astronaut? Absolutely not. But in the story, I was an astronaut because the imagery, the writing, so beautiful. I was an astronaut. Get your helmet and become an astronaut. August, I read Last Summer on State Street, my favorite book of the month. This is the only book for August that I chose. This was this author's debut novel, and I could not tell. I could not tell one bit. This story is heartbreaking. This follows a teenager in 1999 when the Robert Taylor homes in Chicago, when it was demolished, and just the displacement of these families, um, Section 8 housing, things like that. You know what I mean? Like it's heartbreaking to put yourself in Fifi's shoes, in all of the other residents of these projects, put yourself in their shoes and see I've said when I read this book, I live very close to Chicago. So and I lived in a time where I remember when this happened. But I think then I was about, I don't know, 20 something, I don't know. But I didn't feel it like this. I didn't live there, so I'm not gonna feel it regardless. But I didn't feel it like I felt it at my age now, reading this book. Like, this really happened. You know what I mean? This is fiction. It's a fictional story. But what happens in this book is not fiction. It's definitely real. And it just, I don't know, y'all. This touched my heart. I cried on this book too, I think. I really do think I cried on this book. It was just so heartbreaking, y'all. If you're looking for a heartbreaking read that's also going to educate you on what happened in that time, this is what you want to do. This is what you want to get. Is it something you have to read in the summertime just because of the title? No, you don't have to. I read it in August. You can read it at any time, but it was a perfect way to end my summer reading this book. September, The Girls Who Grew Big. This was a buddy read with my accidental book club, and I enjoyed every minute of this book. This was one of those books I think that we all had like different ratings. I think somebody gave a 3.5. I gave this a 5, a easy 5 stars. And honestly, y'all, I don't know why. It wasn't like this story was just like, oh my God, this is the best written, best plot, blessed. No, it really, looking back, it really wasn't. But like, it had me in a hangover. I don't know what this story did to me as to why I gave it 5 stars at the time, but I'm still thinking about those girls. I'm still thinking about what a struggle that had to be for them, all pregnant, all young, all living the way they were living, like just the life they had. Y'all, this is just, it was so good to me. Like, it was so good. But like I said, don't go in here thinking you about to get poetry. Don't go in here thinking you're about to get like a story that's never been told before. Like, it's not that. I don't even know why. I do not know why, y'all, but I enjoyed this book and it was one of my favorites for that month. Then I have little Junie. Oh, little Junie. Little Junie, she made me so mad. Her decision making was terrible. Terrible. For the times they were living in, which is slavery, your decision making is terrible. You have no fear. How do you have no fear in slavery? But Junie, you made for a great book. I loved this book. Another one that if I could read it for the first time again, I would read it. I would reread this book in a heartbeat if I was a rereader. And I just really enjoyed it. She's a debut author, and it was so good to support a debut author. I love when I find out later that it's a debut author after I either have the book or after I've read the acknowledgments or whatever. Like, I like to be surprised, like, what? You never written a book before this one? You know what I mean? I love that. Junie will always have a place in my heart. For October, I have Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. Tiffany D. Jackson, what you did with this book should be criminal. I finished this book, y'all, in 24 hours. I could not put it down. This book is so suspenseful. You're following a young girl who wants to become she can sing her butt off. She wants to become this superstar. She links up with this producer, and her road to stardom is just not It's not what she thought it was going to be, and it's a tough road. It's a hard road. It's a disgusting road. It's it's terrible, but I cannot put this book down. It is so suspenseful. By far my favorite Tiffany D. Jackson book to date. And Monday's Not Coming is a close second. It was that one first, but this took over. Definitely my favorite one by her because of the suspense, not because of the subject matter at all. All of her books have horrible, horrible subject matter. It's always something terrible that she pulls from real life events. But this is definitely my favorite by her. If you have not read Grown, Read Grown, let me know if you finish it in a day like I did. Second one for October is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I feel like I've talked about this book enough. If you've been here for a while, you know how I feel about this book. You know how I felt about the book before I picked it back up. But for those of you who are new here, I'll give you a slight recap. Bought this book 2.5 years ago, read about 20% of it, DNF'd it. Wasn't for me. At the time, I didn't read books like this. I didn't read any piece of fantasy. I only read thrillers and romance. I didn't even read historical fiction. You know, back in the day I did, but like on this reading journey, I wasn't even picking up historical fiction. Thriller and romance only. So this book was out of my comfort zone, so I couldn't get into it. DNF'd it. I got rid of so many books, you know, doing unhauls, throwing books in little free libraries. Something would not let me let this book go. Something kept calling me. This book chose me when I was ready. And I sat here and I read this book and I got through this book and I love this book. Addie in this story basically makes a deal with the devil because she's unhappy with the life that she's currently living. She wants to be free. She wants to live. She wants to just see the world. She wants to do all these things. She makes a deal with the devil, basically. And she's going to get all those things, except she's going to be immortal. She's not going to die. She's 300 years old, basically. And everybody she's come in contact with does not remember her. She talks to you right now. If you leave that room and come back, if there's a stranger in your house, you have no recollection of who this lady is. How did she get in your house? She's not memorable. So that's the struggle she's living with and suffering with for 300 years until one day Henry meets a guy, he remembers her, and then you follow their story. How does he remember her? Nobody's remembered her in 300 years. Why is this guy special? Read it and find out why he's special. This book, I wish I could read this one again too. All of these books basically are ones that I wish if I was a reread, if I could reread a book, these would be the ones that I would reread. Put it like that. So I don't have to say that after every book. But love this. If you're not into fantasy, go in this book with caution. I'm not a fantasy girl. I don't know that I'll ever be a fantasy girl, but this is my type of fantasy that I would read because there's more like magic and you know things like that. They're all real people and there's no animals or vampires or dragons or it's nothing like that. They're all real people, but it's magic in it. It's spells in it. It's things like that. You know, I can do that type of fantasy, and that's why I think I ended up loving this book so much. November. This might be my favorite reading month of the year. If you've been following me, you kind of know what these books probably are because that literally was last month. But These Heathens is first on the list. Love this book. Love the audio. Love the narrator. Love the story. This book just follows a young girl. She's from a rural town in Georgia. She gets pregnant. She she's brought up very God fearing. You know, she's brought up in a certain way, you know, so she's pregnant. She needs to get an abortion. She can't get it in this small town where everybody knows everybody. So her teacher takes her under her wing and takes her to Atlanta to get this abortion. While there, she's meeting all kind of eccentric and just different. She sees the world differently, put it that way, being in Atlanta from her little small town in Georgia. The journey she goes on in this book is it's funny, it's real, it's a little bit of historical fiction dripped in there. Like it's a good time. It's a good time. It's a really short book. It's a good time. Even if you don't love it like I loved it, you're not gonna waste too much time on it because the book is so short. But definitely one of my favorites from November. Second one for November is Hold My Girl. You got two women, went to an IVF clinic, eggs get switched. What is going to happen after this? I love this book so much. Love this book so much. It read like a suspense. It read like just literary fiction. It read like contemporary. It read like everything. And I loved every minute. I could not put this book down. I could not put it down. Highly, highly recommend this book. The other one for November is My Train Leaves at 3. I did read that on Kindle. I don't have that in physical form, although I want it because I do want it for a trophy for my shelf because I enjoy that book so much. Ziamara is the main character. You know I like the book because I remember that girl's name. Ziamara wants to go to Broadway. She can sing as well. Ziamara wants to go to Broadway. She's a singer. She's had a hard life because her sister recently passed away. Her sister was her biggest cheerleader. She is trying to navigate life without her sister. This book is about grief. No sugarcoating. This book is clearly, solely about grief and how each person handles grief in a different way. For poor Ziamara, the way she handled her grief, horrible, horribly. And you are finding out how horribly she handled it and the things she puts herself in just to be able to reach this road, reach this level of stardom, going to Broadway. That is her dream. She's willing to do anything to make that dream happen. And it is a very heartbreaking read. When I started that book, I was like, I don't know about this book. I think I might DNF it. I'm not really feeling it. I didn't know where the story was going. But once it got going, it did not stop. And I enjoyed that book so much. It's going to be one of those books that, hey, what a book you want to recommend to me? My Train Leaves at 3. It was such a good read. So December, the month we're currently in. I really haven't read any books because I have been so busy, y'all. I really haven't read. I've read 4 books so far this month, which is low for me. And 3 of those were novellas, I think. And this is the only real book that I read. And this is right now, this is my favorite book. Same way as Till Summer Do Us Part by her. This Christmas book. This is so ridiculous. It's so stupid, y'all. I'm not even about to lie to you. I will not even lie. Everybody is not gonna like Megan Quinn, period. Everybody's not gonna like this book. Y'all probably be like, Aaliyah, like, how old are you? Why are you so immature that you would love a book like this? Because I am immature. I might be my age, but I have the mind of a 15-year-old sometimes. And books like this, I told y'all I love my rom-coms, right? I love those ridiculous type of stories. I love foolishness. And this book is pure foolishness with some spice. Don't let these covers fool you. Definitely got spice in Megan Quinn's books, real spicy. But y'all, this was just a fun Christmas read. Point period blank. Nothing, no depth, no nothing to write home about. It was a fun time. And sometimes you just need a fun time. Everything can't be serious. Everything can't you need a fun time. However that fun time looks for you, this is how fun times look for me. So this was my favorite. I refuse to pick up all those books and say, these are the books that I read. I'm not doing all that. You just saw them. Those are all of my favorite books from 2025. I cannot wait to see what 2026 has in store for me, reading wise. This year, I feel like I did a really big transformation with my reading. Like I said earlier in this video, I started off primarily romance, thriller. I have sprinkled in so many other things into my like preferences that I like in my books. And that's what's going to happen as a reader. You're going to change from year to year to year. You're going to do things, read things, throw away some things that you never thought you would do on your reading journey. And it's just like any other type of growth, there's growth in your reading journey. And I love how I'm growing. I love where this is going. And I cannot wait to keep it going and going and going some more. Couple of things. I know for sure I'm not going to do a December wrap up this month just because I haven't read any books. Like I just talked about the Christmas book. And I read a couple novellas. If you want to know what I thought about those novellas, my reviews are up on Fable and Goodreads, but I'm not going to do a wrap up this month. And honestly, y'all, this might be my last video of this year. I don't think I'm going to do one for next Sunday, just because the week that I would be filming that is the week of Christmas. And I know I'm going to be busy. I know I got a lot of stuff to do, parties, things like that, family gatherings, things like that. I don't think I'm going to have time to like vlog. And honestly, y'all, I'm not even reading books right this second. So what am I going to talk about on a reading vlog when I'm not reading a book? So I may or may not. If I do end up doing something bookish, I'll definitely record it and post it that day. But I just wanted to put this little disclaimer out that I think, so what would that be, like the 28th? I don't think I'm going to have a video for the 28th, but January 4th, first Sunday of January, I will see y'all there. So as always, thank y'all for hanging out with me, going over all my favorite books from 2025. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, and hype this video. And I'll see y'all in 2026.